Greetings, good morning. My name is Tanika Niesman. I'm with Mark Niesman Communications, and we welcome you to our Quarter 2 Executive Think Tank event. Today, we will be going over people, processes, products, and profitability. Before we get started, just want to go over a few items, housekeeping. Feel free to insert your comments into the chat, whether you're here via YouTube, LinkedIn, or our VIP section. We thank you for joining us today and look forward to serving you throughout this day. Today will be an interactive, expert-led problem-solving experience. You bring your biggest problems, and some of you, thank you for already submitting them via the registration form, and we will help you with frameworks and strategies to solve them. We are formerly Mark Niesman Consulting. Now we are Mark Niesman Advisory Firm. We are a excuse me, sorry. We have over a decade of experience helping businesses thrive and grow. With over 168 hours of research and development, we've assessed more than 12,100 business leaders, and we've trained over 1,600 executives. While these accomplishments set us apart for the vast majority of firms, our most distinctive factor is found in our purpose. Unlike most other firms that solve problems for profit, we partner for purpose. Our purpose is to develop high performance leaders, high performance organizations, and impact cultures. We utilize our proprietary I4 methodology to accomplish this. Some of our distinguished differentiators are that we help through services of advisory, strategy, management, and training. We provide a performance-based pricing, and the quality of performance and productivity is associated with our costs. We guarantee cumulative increases of 30 to 60% over an annual development, and high performance leadership is our differentiating factor in our bread and butter. Let's introduce the team to you today. Our team consists of our principal, Mark Niesman, Sr., as well as our expert advisors, Stevie Stringer, Alex Pierce, Tanika Niesman, myself, Dr. Jack, Lashina Williams, Collins, Tom Martinez, Camille Ali, and Willie Adamson Jr. Just to give you an overview of how the think tank will run today, we are structured to help you gain insights. And through that, we have a pretty robust schedule. We will start off now just going over our housekeeping and framework. Then we'll go into our people section at 9:30. We'll have processes at 11, with a lunch break going around 12:30 to 1:30. We'll go into products at 1:30 and profitability at 3. We'll finally break out for our VIP networking session at 4:30, which will then remove our live stream. Engagement is important. So throughout this presentation, throughout this event, we will be asking questions via our polls that will pop up right here on the screen. as you can see in your bottom left-hand corner, as well as offering chat options throughout the presentation for you to engage. We'll also offer breakout rooms during our VIP section near the end. With that being said, I would like to introduce our main speaker today, Mark Niesman Sr. Mark has over excuse me, sorry. Mark is a serial entrepreneur and thought leader with more than a decade of experience managing businesses and leading high-performance teams. Currently, he serves as our principal consultant here at Mark Niesman Advisory. We are a firm specializing in taking mid-sized companies from 10 million to 100 million in 3 to 5 years. For the past 2 years, the firm has been nominated for 2 Orlando's Best Awards. We are located here in the Central Florida area. Mr. Niesman garners a strong expertise in economic research and development, business strategy, business operations, business development, change management, and mergers and acquisitions. He's also been able to assemble a top-notch strategic team who's always ready and willing to help serve our community and our partners. In 2024 through 2025, he has personally impacted over 8,500 leaders and professionals across 5 different industries and delivered over 500 hours in leadership, communications, management, and sales training, while contributing to the economic impact of over $250 million. In addition, he has maintained an average of 30 to 60% increases in impact, income, and influence for each client over an annual yearly timeframe. He is committed to the mission of building 100 million plus businesses through the implementation of high performance leadership and business leaders in organizations throughout the world. His nonprofit, the Niesman Research Institute, shares in the labor of economic research and development. Mr. Niesman, I would like to welcome you to the stage.
All right. Hey, everyone. Hope all is well. Mic check. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So, if you can, just let me know where you're coming from in the chat. I think we're streaming right now on YouTube, LinkedIn. Where else is everyone coming? Are those the primary ones, are there somewhere else?
That is correct. YouTube and LinkedIn.
Yeah. Let me know where you're coming in from. Okay. This is going to be engaging for those of you who are not directly in the room with us. After this first session, we're going to turn over, but you will get an opportunity to join us if you so wish. For everyone else who's already in the room right now, thanks so much for joining. Glad to see you all. Really excited to move forward with today's presentation. And just in case you didn't know, we run these think tanks quarterly on the year, and the objective of them is to ultimately get in front of our calendar. So as you notice, it's the start of the second quarter. So happy second quarter to everyone. And we're usually running these at the beginning of that next quarter. So obviously we're at the beginning of the second quarter. This is why now we have a think tank. And so it's always going to be on that Thursday, that first Thursday of the new quarter. All right. So that'll help prepare your minds as we move forward. Because essentially these are loan. Now, those of you who have taken the time to invest and purchase into joining the think tank, we've one upped it. So now you get access to any think tank that you want throughout the course of this year. And so that's a really powerful offer, because these are not cheap. These are expensive tickets that people are paying into, and so we really thank you, and we understand that you may or may not be able to get everything you need all in one setting, even though we are here for a full day. All right. And so that's a little bit of housekeeping. Tanika, thank you so much for the introduction. Really appreciate you and your time. Really thankful for you. And Tanika is my wife, everyone. So I get the privilege of working alongside my wife, and that's a joy. And really grateful for all that you do. And yeah, thank you. I can't say it enough. But moving forward into this next transition, now, I don't know, do we have a question that we're presenting or what? I see something in the comments. Okay, that was you. Do we have a question that we're presenting, or are we moving right into people, or where are we at right now?
Absolutely. So through the registration process, we actually had individuals submit their questions. One of the questions that was presented that I believe is related to people. The new employee onboarding process takes 3 weeks to be fully onboarded. I have to go through multiple layers of personnel just to get a phone up and running. No one takes ownership of the process, and there is chaos each time I bring in a new hire. What can we do to improve the turnaround for onboarding a new hire?
Okay, so I guess this is right on time because we are people is the first thing, and so you heard Tanika make mention to a concept that we focus on here inside of Mark Niesman. But before I jump too much into what I would do, I want to hear from you all. So let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments, especially if you're in HR or if you do any form of recruiting, if you're in leadership in general, how would you respond to this question? What is it that you would do? Let us know in the comments. Because yeah, there's a few issues going on here, right? As I'm reading through this, for one, if it takes, I mean, we're looking at a time uh, delay. It shouldn't take 3 weeks to necessarily complete a onboarding. It's not 3 weeks isn't terrible, but that's not what it should take, depending on the size of that organization. Obviously, that's a big factor in it. But then the next thing I hear that I'm seeing is just a protocol issue, right? People not understanding what it is that they're doing, when it should be getting done, and yeah, at the heart of it, this creates a huge performance issue. So before we jump into the answer to this question, I think that it's best if we flow if we utilize the HPL method, high performance leadership methodology, the model that we utilize, and that'll help bring some clarity around this. Um, Long story short, okay. So just to reread this for everyone in the room, the new employee onboarding process takes 3 weeks to be fully onboarded. I have to go through multiple layers of personnel just to get a phone up and running. Now, now when they say phone up and running, I'm not really sure what that means for them.
I think
That's
that
not.
was
Oh,
sarcasm, meaning
oh,
to
okay.
get someone to actually have just the basic of what they need is what that's.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then my assumption then is that this person is in some form of customer service or something along those lines if they need access to a phone.
I believe
No,
that's
no one takes ownership of the process. All right. Okay. And there's chaos each time I bring in a new hire. Okay. And so this is pretty clear, how to move forward with this, and we'll get to it, but it's actually better shown than said. And Tanika, I'll have you pull up the HPL dashboard when we get a chance, and that'll pretty much clean this up, right? But long answer short, you hit it on the head, right? There's no one who's directly responsible for ensuring that this onboarding process happens in a clear and concise way. And that's long story short what the issue is, right? Now, who is assigned to that? It all depends on how large this organization is and who ultimately they have in charge of doing their hiring. Okay, so if the person speaking is like 80% of the businesses in America, then you're dealing with 20 employees or less. And at that frame, then the person doing the hiring is either this one HR person that you have tucked off in the back office somewhere, or it's whoever's leading that particular team. And and so it's now listening to this person speaking, it seems like they have a fairly larger size organization. And if that's the case, you say you break 50 people and your employee, and then you drop into that pretty much like 5 percentile bracket as a organization structure. Okay, then at this point, yes, we need to be talking about having a simple dashboard in place that lets everyone know exactly what's happening within the organization, and that's SOPs, KPIs. Again, this goes back to performance, which I'll show you how we bracket this and how we break it down. So, but before we go directly to that, I think you should have an understanding of ultimately uh, how we approach people. Okay, and our this is going to be unique in the from the perspective that you probably have heard of everything that we're going to speak about today, but you probably have not heard of it in the same frame that we're going to talk about it today. And so that said, I have you'll be able to refer to the screen behind me as we go through this presentation today. But what I want to do is just present a simple model right here for us, okay? And that model is called the High Performance Leadership L chart. All right, the High Performance Leadership L chart. And all that I'm going to do here is put up a simple L chart, okay? I guess I need to change the color in order for it to show up. All right, boom, boom. All right, L chart, simple, right? Now, just like most L charts, there is a y-axis and an x-axis. Across this horizontal axis, this is what we refer to as leadership, okay? And along this vertical axis, this is what we refer to as high performance. All right. Now, everyone can see that well? Okay, cool. So I promise you I'm not going to spend too much time here, but this is going to be important for understanding how we go about framing people. All right. And so once we understand this, you'll be able to identify almost immediately who that person is that's most qualified to even handle that issue. And then from there we can, we'll be able to navigate it from there. So just bear with me. All right. Now, when we talk about high performance leadership, probably the most important aspect is understanding these different quadrants that we have here. All right, and obviously there are four quad. There are a bit more than four quadrants. If I was savvy, I'd draw a line right here, and I'd draw another line right here. Okay. So it's essentially more quadrants, but this is forcing us to be binary. That's the whole point, to be black and white, even though in many cases everything is not just black and white. All right, we know this. Okay, we're conscious of this. However, we're doing this intentionally. All right. So right here in the bottom corner, it starts with 0, or it starts with 1, excuse me, and then it goes to a total of 10. All right, so a total of 10. Okay, and then right here, I'm just gonna put this note right here for right now. We're gonna write an 8 right there. Okay. Now, what I'm looking for in any organization is how well that leadership can segment each person within their organization. So this L chart becomes a really simple way of figuring out where you place talent. All right. And you're placing talent in these different quadrants based on really two metrics. That metric is skill set, which is high performance. High performance is rooted in three skill sets: sales, management, and communication. Those are the three skill sets that are what we consider high performance. These are the three skill sets that can never be outsourced completely by AI or any other. These are skill sets that require strategy. It requires EQ. It requires intellect. It requires human intellect. And as far as we're concerned, there isn't anything that you can outsource that to right now beyond a human being who's very capable and competent in order to get it done. All right. And so that said, those three skill sets will rank a person from 1 to 10. Right. Eight being, why is this eight right here? Eight represents what we call a pro or a professional, a producer or a professional. If a person isn't at least an 8 out of 10, or representing 80% or better of anyone in the marketplace who's actually doing that skill set, then they really shouldn't be on full time. They shouldn't be getting paid to do the work. All right. They're not there. Okay, that's what that means. Okay, now and obviously across the bottom of the line, the big question that we're asking is, leadership is dealing with people. So how many people does this individual has this individual garnered the trust of? Okay, when it comes to that, how many people would actually follow this individual? All right. And these show up in a bunch of different ways within your organization, all depending on how you go about doing business. All right. So just trying to make sure I get it out of the glare for you all. That's all. Okay. All right. This will do. I guess this I have to do for now. Okay. Okay. So that said, this bottom corner right here, this bottom quadrant, right, will ultimately represent people who are low performers and low character, right? So low performers representing high performance, and low character representing their ability to lead other people, right? Now, if I had to ask you, do you want this person inside of your organization? You, along with everyone else who's in an executive role, says no. All right. They don't want these people in the organization. Why? Because these people are who we call takers, right? And people who are takers ultimately extract from that organization. They don't add value to it. And so we don't mind, we know we need takers, but we just don't want them working in our organization. We want the takers to be people who, take and sample our products, right? Take the freebies, right? We don't want them to be the people who are actually in the organization, right? We don't. That's no good. That's no bueno. So then the natural transition that most employers look for is, all right, well, if I can't, for one, your organization is only so big. Getting talent is a huge issue. That's the big elephant in the room. How do you get great talent, right? Do you have that ability? And if not, like most organizations don't, then I would naturally want to lean to people who may be a low performer, but they have high character, right? It's like, well, why would I go there first? Because I can't control how great of a character you develop. I have no control over that. That's a you versus you thing, right? There's nothing about me that can make you choose to be a better person. You have to make that choice on your own. Okay. And so I naturally want to just attract people who have high character. All right. Meaning at least they're not going to steal, they're not going to take, they're going to be good, they're going to be kind, they'll be great for our culture, right? We get them inside of the culture, then we can build from there. And the thought process is that naturally they go from this quadrant, this bottom right quadrant, and they begin on this trek, on this journey to the top left quadrant. And ultimately we want them to become high performers. Like, well, you want to become high performers with low character? No, that's not what we're saying. But ultimately, these are different levels. Okay. These are different levels. So the same person you are right here in this quadrant is not going to be the same person you'll be in this quadrant, right? There's still a decision to make at this level, right? It's like any other thing in life, right? As you go up in life, as you excel in different levels of life, your character will be challenged all over again, right? You went from middle school to high school, your character was challenged all over again. You went from high school to college, your character is challenged all over again. You went from college to your master's or to your doctorate, your character was challenged. You went from your master's to a profession. Your character has been challenged all of it. Never stops. It continues to happen over and over and over again, right? So there's a reset here. Okay. Now, how you show up here is up to you. Okay. And obviously, there are two exits to this. That's why this line keeps going. These people can choose to stay in this culture or they can choose to make an exit. Either way is fine as long as it's for the better of that individual. That's ultimately what matters. And the same thing down here, right? And so ideally, this person is making this backwards Z, as you can see. And then from this quadrant, ideally, they become a high performer with high character. All right. Now, I'm just going to put a pin in that really quickly and come back to you because based off of this, now we know pretty much who should be doing the hiring and who should be in charge of any process therein, right? It should be these people over here, the ones who have made that full journey, right? That understand what's happening in this organization and have developed skills, right, to get that done. They're not just a high performer, but they become a high performance leader, right? Okay, now if that is true, right, then we know that these people right here are make up probably the smallest amount within this organization. These people should be non-existent. That leaves these two groups out of everyone here. This is going to be the vast majority of people within your organization. All right, they're going to be people that need to be trained and need to be developed. Okay, and you should have a way to do that without paying them a very high amount of money because we made it clear that pros get paid, right? And so this is why we love the high performance leadership model so much because if you're not a high performer, then we can make you that, but don't expect to be paid a high amount of money in order. We don't believe in in learning while you earn. We That's not a model we subscribe to. We don't. You wouldn't allow me to learn while you paid me to do heart surgery. You wouldn't allow me to earn money while you paid me to paint your house. No, you want me to learn first, and you actually want me to pay to learn, right? And then you want me to be able to earn, right? And that's the exact model that we subscribe to here. And so this bracket right here, just below this red dotted line, this might be people who are part-time within your organization. They're not necessarily a pro, but they're gradually becoming so. Well, maybe they deserve to be part-time within your organization. Maybe these right here are your full-time people above this dotted line, right? Because they are pros, they've shown themselves. And then down here, maybe these individuals right here, you bracket these individuals below this bottom line to say, all right, maybe like for us, we bring them into our internship program. So these are considered mentees. Okay. People who graduate above this dotted line are people that we say we want to move forward with, and we think that they have an opportunity within our organization we can build on. People who are below this line, thank you, but we see them out, right? Because they haven't developed they haven't developed the skills that we need to see them move forward within our organization. All right. So while character can get you in the door, it won't keep you there. Okay. And the same thing over here. While high performance might get you in the door, it won't keep you there. All right. So it's the same thing. You need both high performance, right? And keeping this simple, when we do work with the DoD or any government entity that's military based, I love how we frame it there because it's clear and it's simple, right? And so when it comes to high performance, they say, "Can I trust you with my life? Can you shoot a gun?" All right. And when it comes to leadership, they say, "Can I trust you with my wife?" Two things that matter most, right? That individual's love and that individual's livelihood, right? Can they be trusted with both? And you're asking that same question. One about your culture. Can I trust you around the people who matter most to us in this organization? And can I trust that you're going to deliver on what it is that you're supposed to be doing? So that's our frame when it comes to how we approach business in general. Okay, we're right here at the 30-minute mark. And I want to just make, again, if you have any questions about what I'm speaking on right now, go ahead and ask them in the chat. Love to hear from you. Love to get some insight on what it is that you're picking up on. And if that makes sense, and if this is registering, then now, next I want to show how this actually plays out in real live time. So obviously now we know, okay, these people right here are the people that we're grooming in the organization. These are individuals here who are clearly good at what they do, but they don't necessarily hold a leadership position. This might be a senior professional or something along those lines, right? They're not a manager, they're not a supervisor, they're not in charge of other people. They're just in charge of their tasks. Okay. And then right here, these are the people who are going to be in charge of other people. All right. They're going to make up a very small amount of your organization every single time. Okay. Now, from there, um, now the next thing is, all right, to clear up, going back to this question that was asked, Tanika, can you pull back up that question and put it back in the frame so that everyone can reassociate? Absolutely. So the new employee process, right? No one takes ownership of the process, and there's chaos every time I bring in a new hire. The answer to this is simple. Someone who's in this, who's been nominated as a high performer, has not been held accountable to seeing this process all the way through. And so one simple thing we do to make sure that this gets done is we just use a dashboard. It's what we created our own. It's called the HPL dashboard. Tanika, can you pull that up, or do I need to? If I need to, I just, okay, I see how to share my screen now. Do I don't know if you're doing it. Do I need to do it, or? All right, here's an example of, let me know in the comments if you all can see this clearly. Okay. And if you can, then what I'm showing you right now is the HPL dashboard. This dashboard is ultimately what you need to have in place in order for everyone within your organization to know who is the owner. You see right here, this metric owner that I'm highlighting. Who's the metric owner? All right. There needs to be a dedicated individual. And you can see that there is someone assigned to every level of our organization. Okay. They're typically between 5 and 7 different divisions or responsibilities within your organization that have to be manned, and you're going to need at least 3 to 5 people to man. And that's on a small, that's saying that your organization is very, very small, but ideally you have one person for each of these areas, no more, just one individual assigned to each one of these areas. I don't believe in co-leading when it comes to taking ownership of a metric. I believe one person should be assigned to a specific metric. And this removes chaos. This removes the gray. It makes it very, very clear what a person is competent in and what they are not competent in, what they can deliver on and what they cannot deliver on. Okay. And when we're in business, this is more like a team. It's not like family. So we're not hiring people or putting people in a role just because we like them, just because we love them. We're putting people in a role because they have the ability to get the job done. Okay. And that's ultimately what this does. Now, this metric system, the key about this metric system is that there is no automation involved in it. This is what I'm showing you is on a really basic, plain Google sheet, all right, or an Excel sheet, whichever one you want to use. We utilize Google inside of our organization. So everything I'm going to present today is going to be from a Google perspective, all right. But there are a bunch of different platforms out there that are essentially doing the same thing, whether it's Smartsheet. If you use Smartsheet, great. If you use Excel, great. Doesn't matter. All right. All the same functions can be done. But ultimately, there has to be someone assigned for a particular role. Okay. And you can see here we have our evergreen metrics. These are things that will always be important. They will not ever change. Our North Star metrics, all right? Are we going about this the proper way? Okay. The product metrics, marketing metrics, sales metrics, customer support, technology, accounting, and the people and culture, right? These are all areas obviously that are important within your organization. I don't need to question that. For this one particular, we're talking about people, right? People and culture. So whoever is assigned to the recruiting and onboarding process, that's whose name will go right here. Okay. And the metric source that they are utilizing, what software are they utilizing to get that done? Okay. And then on top of that, what is it exactly that we're measuring? What is the metric type? Is it a total or is it an average? Is it a dollar amount, or what is the dollar amount associated with that person, with that average employee that we're bringing in, right? There should be a dollar amount associated with that individual. And then how many of these are happening on a weekly basis? All right. So if we are able to, if we're able to understand what's happening here, it makes it very difficult for anyone to be chaotic, and we remove this chain effect that this individual is experiencing in the example that they named, because it's not there. It's an individual who's been assigned, and not a whole, not a bunch of people, or not. Now if you're in a government entity or something like that, then that might change matters just a little bit. But there still should be someone directly assigned to the role. That part should not, that part should not change. Okay. That part should not change. Once we identify who the individual is that's responsible for, we can work backwards from there, because it could be that that individual needs help. It could be that that person is overwhelmed. It could be that their task order list is far greater than the amount of time or capacity that they have to get it done. All right. All right. So we are at 9:39 right now. Tanika, checking in with you. What's next? What's next on the dock in regard to everyone else jumping in on this? Okay, we seem to be having. Okay. Yep. So we pretty much talked through the high performance leadership L chart already. That's the same thing you all are seeing on your screen right now. We pretty much talked through that on the back end. And so what are we doing next? Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Then I will offer, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, whether you are on LinkedIn or you are showing up via YouTube. We do have a few more questions that were submitted, but I just want to give time for a few of our viewers to submit their questions as well in live time.
Sounds good.
Yep. So I will add our. I'll add a quick little countdown. We'll give you a little bit more than that. We'll give you about 30 seconds. Okay. Currently have no questions in the chat. I'll bring up our slides. We'll go to another question that was submitted before we go into processes. And let me know, Mark, if you want to take a 15-minute break as well, just to get some coffee and let everyone kind of log in a little longer. Our next question was just every expense request requires 4 signatures for approval. It takes weeks to get through the expense process, which significantly slows down my projects. How can I improve the efficiency of the purchasing and our expense process?
Yeah, so this is going to be the next section. This is going to be processes, which, yeah, you're right. We will take a break before we jump into this. But so then before we go to this question, let's go back to people, and I want to offer up the HPL assessment for individuals. Well, what do we have here? People alignment, strong culture. Okay, yeah, we pretty much talked through this. How are you investing in your people becomes the power thought. All right, so yeah, the big thing here obviously is getting clear first on who your people are, what their strengths are, and ultimately their mindsets. When we think about an organization, there are three three things that are rarely spoken about that we ultimately have to have in place to see our organization through, to see it thrive. All right. Those three things is we need to be able to uncover. This is mindset talk now. All right. We need to be able to uncover desire. We need to be able to uncover a person's degree of faith or confidence, okay, that they have in themselves. All right. And we need to be able to uncover their definite decision or plan of action. All right. Okay. Desire, faith, and decision. All right. Or desire, confidence, and decision, however it is you want to frame it. These three areas are what we're constantly assessing in an individual, because if something like performance is not getting done, all right, and just so that we're clear, all right, so take a image of take a picture of this if you need to, and then we're moving on. All right, so just so that we're clear, when it comes to people, there are really 4 areas that we are aligning with: principles, which is what you see me talking about right now; presence, how we show up as leaders; performance, which is the HPL chart. It is the HPL dashboard that I just showed you, and it is ultimately those 3 skill sets that I made mention of: sales, communications, and management. And the last is productivity, which takes us back to that HPL dashboard again. Okay. So what I'm trying to figure out within my employees or my staff constantly, quarterly, okay, is what is their degree of desire to do this job? Is it a burning desire? That's ultimately what I'm looking for. What is their faith level or their confidence in getting it done? And have they made a decision and backed it with a plan of action in order to continue to move forward with getting better and growing? All right. And if they have, then great. My job then is to align those with principles, a sense of presence, performance, and productivity. Okay. And once I've accomplished this, that will show up within our organization in the form of something that looks a little bit more tangible. All right. And what I mean when I say a little bit more tangible, specifically around performance, okay, it's going to look like 3 things. All right. It's going to look like Management, models. Models is just essentially an image or something like what I'm creating right now. This is a model. Okay. And mindset. Now, if you're following me so far, if I haven't overwhelmed you at all, then what you're probably asking next, you said, well, as far as management, Mark, I understand that's ultimately going to be, processes that we implement and holding people accountable to get those carried out. And models is pretty clear. Now that you've explained that, Mark, that's just a visual of what it is that how our organization should be working. But Mark, the thing that I can't see clearly is the mindset part. That's what you should be saying right now at this phase. And if so, you're dead on it because it's going to go back to this area right here. Like, Mark, how do I gauge someone's desire? How do I gauge their faith? How do I determine these things? And if you're asking that question, you're dead on. All right. And this is also why not only did we create the HPL dashboard, but we also created the HPL assessment. Okay. The HPL assessment has been taken now by over 2,600 executive leaders, and have created success for each and every one of them. It's been what has been the pivotal factor to make people make the decisions of moving into a career or exiting a career or growing in a career or staying in an organization. Whatever the case, this simple assessment has been known for that. It's 60 questions long and it's psychoanalytical. All right. Now, this 60 questions is targeting these three core areas. Okay. And they will get a score back that brackets their mindset in 4 areas. I recommend, well, we actually have our team to take this same assessment at least 4 times a year. Every quarter, they take this assessment. And it's the same thing that I suggest for you because it's going to give you clarity about how they think. There's no right or wrong answer to it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Okay, great. So we have a link pulled up. If you just type in hplassessment.com, that's how you'll get access. You'll go right here to our webpage. And when you get there, these are the 3 things that ultimately is shown. But please scroll up to the top so people can see. Mhm. Yeah, so this right here is where you would click that link and then just start. Go ahead and click that link so that people will see where the page goes next. Once you hit click to start here, you'll go right into your assessment. All right. There's no charge associated with this whatsoever. If you do decide that, hey, I want more insight on this and I need someone else to help me look through this and understand what it is that I'm looking at, then okay, yes, there is a charge associated with giving you a full analysis. But you just getting your insight, getting your data back, there's no charge whatsoever. You can take this. I recommend you give this to your employees, give it to your staff members, have them take it, and then have them send you the report so that you can go through this with them and be able to understand these areas. All right. How are these individuals showing up? Why? Because you didn't just buy into what they did in their past. You actually bought into who they're becoming in their future. Right. And that matters just as much as seeing their ability to hit checkpoints and ultimately meet OKRs on a consistent basis, which is what that dashboard should be helping you to do within your organization. So in closing, for people, great question. Thanks so much for asking it. And I'm sure that there are other people who are dealing with the same issue. But when it comes to understanding who's supposed to be doing what it is that they're supposed to be doing, that is going to be your HPL dashboard. That's going to show up in and yes, do you need to have SOPs? Do you need to have OKRs? Yes, we actually have something a little bit further than this. We actually make sure that every individual in our organization has what's called a workflow as well. All right. And all of these connect. The HPL assessment connects to the HPL dashboard. The HPL dashboard absolutely shows up as SOPs and OKRs on a person's pro workflow. And every workflow is aligned directly with that person's role, right? That they are doing pertaining to that division or that department that they're associated with. And so I'm going to conclude there. If we
And
haven't don't have any questions right now, then great. We'll just go ahead and take a break, 15 minutes, and then let's come back for processes next.
absolutely. And quick thing, you'll see a QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen. If you scan that, that will take you directly to the website that Mark just showed you as far as the HPL assessment. And just to share some experience I had with the HPL assessment, I took it probably about 3 years ago. And it really did. It showed me a lot, not only about my leadership style, but my mindset at the time. It helped me to determine what career path I was willing to take. And so I do encourage each and every one of you, if you have time, just to scan that code, go to the website. You can fill out and get your report right away. But if you want us to help you get through it, we can definitely help you with our team. And so now we'll start our 15-minute break. So, thank you for joining us live today via YouTube and LinkedIn. If you would like to continue to experience the Executive Think Tank event to learn more about processes, products, and profitability in our next 3 sessions, feel free to use the QR code on the top right hand corner of your screen right now. Just go through the registration process, and we'll see you over in our VIP room. Thank you to Mr. Mark Niesman Sr. for going through the first session with you and just showing how we can better impact our culture, our organizations through the implementation of people, processes, frameworks. So, Mark, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you over in the VIP room. This live stream will end now. Thank you.